got a question because we live in a world where a lot of people are very, very sensitive. We live in this sensitive generation. And I just don't know from my calculated lens, and you being the actual comedian that you are, you do that for a living. Do you see uh comedy just lasting? Just think about the future. Think about 2030. Which is not too far away from where we are right now. We're talking about 8 years, 8 to 10 years. Where do you see comedy? Do you think comedy could fit in a sensitive generation where guys could be their authentic self and use their personalities and say what they want without fear? Do you think comedy will last? Because, bro, the way how I'm seeing it is like you have to tiptoe and you don't have the freedom to just say what you want. I think that hinders your comedy, bro. When you have to worry about, if I say this and this comes out my mouth and somebody ain't gonna like it and I get canceled or something, I might get slapped. Where do you see comedy in the next 8 to 10 years? Do you think it's going to be thriving, or do you think it's going to be, cancel culture just canceled out comedy in its totality?
This, honestly, I think comedy is going to be fine. But at the end of the day, it depends on the comedians. It's up to them, the jokes they want to put out there, what they want to be scared to say, to not say. It's really up to them. And, some people have to embrace the fact that, eventually you're going to offend someone. Eventually somebody's not going to like a joke. And I actually said this at a show one time when I was on sort of a panel. And what I was asked, and this was actually a question for all of us, do you guys, care about offending people? Two of them said yes. I said no. And you could feel the crowd kind of hush when I said no. And what I did was I explained myself, why. And I basically said the same thing I just told you. I was like, at some point you're eventually going to offend somebody. Somebody's not going to like something you say. And that's just the truth about it. And the sooner you embrace that, the better off you're going to be. And the easier it is for you, it's going to be for you to do comedy. So, you got to keep that in mind, And again, I'll bring up the Shar situation. I haven't, how should I put this? I haven't censored myself yet since that time. Would you say that I have? Let me ask you that.
Nah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So with that being said, it's, on the comedians. And as long as I think there's enough people that are going to speak their mind in spite of living in a sensitive generation, then we'll be fine. I think comedy will be fine because I think there's enough people that will do that, especially in the environment we're from, New Jersey and New York. And, I think comedy is going to find a way to adjust and figure things out. So, yeah, comedy's going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really pinpoint a lot of things because when it comes to comedy, it's just like you taking the originality of comedy out the picture when you censor people. And it seems like the only one right now that I know that can say a lot of things and get away with it off top is Dave Chappelle. He, for some reason, and I think it's because he's just that iconic and he earned that resume where he can sit there and say a whole lot of things that other people just can't say. But that counter, I would say, not everybody is Dave Chappelle. What about that young dude that's coming up that doesn't have the accolades as a Dave Chappelle, and he wants to say something that he thinks is very funny, but that offends somebody, and he gets canceled, and then, his career is in shambles because he said something that somebody didn't like. And that's the thing that I'm worrying about. It's not more so worried about the Dave Chappelles and the Cat Williams and the, everybody, that already made their name. It's about the people that's trying to get in this game and have that fear of, okay, I got to be careful and pick my jokes. And those are the people who I'm worried for. And before I give my reactions, because I'm saving my grand reactions, I got a lot to say about it. I'm going to throw you another lob here. So Will Smith, obviously, he gets up, he slaps Chris Rock in the face. Do you think if it was somebody else, let's say The Rock or maybe somebody in a different race?
His ass is not
I
slapping the
think
Rock. I'll tell you that.
I think, because it's Chris Rock, it has something to do with it compared to anybody else. Even somebody that, is Caucasian, because they may have some connects that could get him out of there. Like, I don't really think if it was somebody of a different race or somebody like The Rock per se, that Will Smith would have kept that same energy because of what's at stake. And that's some of the psychological issues where I'm starting to plant the seeds before I get my take, because I think it's a psychological thing more so than what people is looking at it from. Everything is psychological. The way how people act is psychological. You act the way how you were brought up to think, and the way how you brought up and you raised, like that impacts the way how you act. Would you say so?
To some extent, although to your point, I would counter by saying, we don't know what Jada's going to do behind his back. So I don't know how much race is really involved with it. It could be a factor, but at the end of the day, we really don't know. I know good and hell well he ain't slapping The Rock. I will say that. I don't believe that for a second.
It's not more so like it's about race. It's more so about the fact that, when you look at crime, and these are stats that you can look up, it's like you see a lot of black on black crime, not a lot of black on white crime. Like it's a psychological thing from slavery that black people, look at black people wrong, because back then some people had to kill another black man to be free, to get their freedom. So it's like that's something psychological that we are groomed to just hate somebody that look like us. And obviously, you probably won't be able to see it from that perspective. But if you look at statistics, if you look at a whole lot of these things, it really is so. Like, I really find it hard to believe that Will Smith would have kept that same energy if it was a white comedian. Like Jimmy Kimmel, nah.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that. Who else you got over there? You got Jimmy Kimmel, you got Fallon, you got all them guys over there that are great comedians. I doubt Will Smith would have that same energy.
I'm not going to lie. I think, the Jimmy he is more likely to slap is Fallon. I will say that right now. If I had to pick out of those two Jimmys, it would probably be him. I don't know why. I could just see Fallon get slapped a little bit more easily. You know what it is? Fallon will giggle so damn much at the joke that Will Smith will be like, nah, bro, and just come up and do it. Jimmy Kimmel will let the joke simmer a little bit. He's not going to crack so easy. So
he laughed. I think Will Smith laughed. That's the thing that everybody's bringing up, which I can see. Is like how you laugh at a joke and get mad, and I can tell you how you do it. And I guess this falls in line with my take. I think Will Smith basically wanted to prove his, I guess you could say, loyalty to Jada. You're laughing at the joke.
Why? She ain't got
He's upset. Exactly. We can get into that in a few minutes. But what's crazy?
What you need to prove anything for? Jada ain't got loyalty to you.
You see this time and time again. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of people has lost their life trying to prove loyalty. Do I remind people of the Tupac situation? Right? Tupac is funny because a lot of people said Tupac would have been the next Will Smith. They always compare that because he was getting movie roles, Poetic Justice. There's another movie, Juice. He was getting a lot of movie roles, Tupac was. And a lot of people said if he was still alive, he would have been the next Will Smith, getting all those movies and having that big catalog that Will Smith had. But unfortunately, it was Tupac trying to show his loyalty to Suge Knight. The reason why in the lobby he goes and jumps Orlando Anderson and he gets killed that same night. Now, what if Tupac said, okay, I'm going to stay out of this one and just tag along for the ride? He'll still at least be alive past that day, because we can never say, we never know how life pans out. But at least that night, he would have made it to the next day. But because he wanted to prove his loyalty, just that alone, I'm pretty sure if Tupac saw ahead of what could have happened, he wouldn't have done that. And that's why I think when we come back to Will, trying to prove that loyalty and not thinking. And if you're Jada, what the hell are you doing? If you really care about your husband, you will say, you know what? Hey, chill. Like, don't do it. But you out here laughing and egging him on. This is the real Lil talking here. That's not normal. A real person that loves somebody will say, yo, chill. You know what I'm saying? I done seen it. My homeboy, senior year, we about to graduate. And some dude was bullying him, and he about to pop off. He like, yo, bro, I'm about to step to you. I'm about to knock your head off. I had to say, yo, bro, we about to graduate, go to college, have good lives. Don't mess it up by getting expelled, bro, and letting that mess up your resume. Why? Because I cared about him. If I want to see a fight, shoot, I egg him on too. So if you care about your husband, why not try to, yo, we get him later or something, like we'll handle it later. You know what I'm saying? Chill out, da-da-da, and you over here laughing. You know, I feel like in society, to bring it on a broader scale of terms here, I feel like a lot of people, and it's a good and bad thing. There's always pros and cons to a lot of things, you know, depending on how you look at it. And I start with like just a general statement where you see people just don't give a F anymore. Like it's just like, yo, Antonio Brown, you know, he's playing against the Jets. Yo, screw this job. I'm gonna take off my jersey mid-game and I'm storming out of here and making a scene. You also see Will Smith. You see a lot of people quitting jobs. It's like a lot of people just is like, I don't really care anymore. I'm just going to do what I felt. And I think that's a pro and a con because it's a con because when you look at certain situations, it really do make you look silly. But the pros to that is just like, yo, people just don't care anymore. People are just going to live the life that they want to live and not really think about anything. And I guess you could take that how you wish. If you're able to rebound from some of those, yo, I quit my job. I'm leaving Burlington today. Yo, I smacked my boss in the face. If you're able to move on from that and get a better job, then it worked out for you, bro. If not, then you out here looking silly, and you may get a case on your hands, too. For example, even the other examples that I forgot to mention, you talk about Naomi Osaka, you know, in her stance in the U.S. Open. You talk about Simone Biles just going home. You know, I think right now we see a lot of people that just is like, yo, screw it, yo, my mental health is more important than this job, you know, that I'm doing. And I think, you know, a lot of people look at that and a lot of people look at it from another way. And the older generation will say, well, you know, they look at them like they're quitters. But, you know, everybody got their own story and everybody's going to write their own story. And I think everybody should write the story that they want to write. But since we all talking about mental health, do you think when you look at Will Smith, and you look at his body posture and you just read him, you know, just read his body language, right? Clear, you're not Will Smith. We established that. Clear, we don't know what he's going through. But when you look at the dude and you kind of get a read on him and you see the events that transpired at the Oscars, do you think maybe potentially he's going through a lot at this time and all that boiled in led to that moment that we are eventually talking about right now?
He might be. It might honestly be that love just made him do something crazy, and it was an inexcusable decision that he made. But, you know, he very well might be. It could have contributed to it. You know, there's no way to know because he hasn't really come out with that, and I don't want to speculate on somebody else's life. You know, that's very well possible because you never seen this from Will Smith before. And I think that's what was so alarming. This is not who Will Smith has portrayed himself to be at really any point other than on an acting set of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, maybe. You know, maybe on Hancock, that movie about 5 people watched, you know. But
hey, I'm not going to lie, bro, because they do have a Bel-Air reboot right now that's out. If I'm the actor playing Will Smith right now, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm like, oh, you got me playing you, and you out here acting a fool, and I gotta play you, bro. Like, I'm looking at that sideways a little bit. I'm just saying from my perspective. I can't really say how he's feeling, and clear we're not these individuals. But from my perspective, if I'm playing you, brother, can you stay out of trouble and not make me look a little bit bad over here? But, you know, everybody can take that for what they want.
How you gonna feel if – how's this gonna go if you don't enjoy my acting too? That's the thing.
That exactly. You know, it's crazy. But I think we pretty much ran through everything that we had on this topic, you know, and talking about things from a lot of angles. And anytime you listen to a Real Lil show and we talk about a topic of that magnitude, you have to already know that the Real Lil is going to take about 4 different routes to attack this topic, you know, whether it be psychological, whether it be from a mental health aspect, whether it be from a relationship aspect. There's so many aspects that tie into that situation that a lot of people really probably don't realize and are not privy to. And that's why you listen to a show like this. And John, I want to thank you for coming on and, giving your thoughts and reactions to everything happening at the Oscars. And hopefully we don't see that happen anymore, where people are on stage and comedians get smacked. Because I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10, somebody's getting smacked back. And that's just what it is.
The Can You Dig It Sports Radio Network is here. Revolutionize the game of media. Be a dig.